Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my secret like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. There is no lack in the mind of God. There is no shortage in divine supply. What we call a lack is merely a misalignment with law, spiritual law. Today, I share with you the 7 divine laws of prosperity, principles known by the wise, ignored by the many, and powerful enough to shift a life from struggle to overflow. The law of mental equivalence: what you hold in mind, you hold in hand. You cannot expect opulence while entertaining thoughts of fear, failure, and limitation. Prosperity is first planted in the soil of your subconscious. See yourself rich in ideas, rich in love, rich in supply, and watch the outer world match the inner image. Affirm: I picture abundance and abundance pictures me. The law of the spoken word: your word is your wand. It builds up or tears down. When you say, money flows to me freely and easily, you set a force in motion. When you say, I can't afford it, you slam the door on your good. Speak only that which you wish to see multiplied. Affirm: every word I speak is a seed of wealth. The law of circulation: give, and it shall be given unto you. That is not charity, that is law. Stagnation is the enemy of prosperity. If you hoard, you block the divine pipeline. Bless what you give, bless what you receive, and never fear that there is not enough. Affirm: I give with joy and I receive with grace. The law of faith over fear: faith and fear cannot occupy the same space. Faith is the hand that opens the treasury of heaven. When fear knocks, let faith answer. Trust in divine supply, even when the outer shows emptiness, and the inner will soon overflow. Affirm: I walk by faith, not by sight. The law of divine right action: you need not force anything. When you are in tune with spirit, doors open. Jobs find you, clients seek you. Money flows in unexpected ways. Don't push, don't chase, align and allow. Affirm: what is mine by divine right is now on its way to me. The law of gratitude: in advance gratitude is a magnet, but gratitude in advance is a declaration of faith. Thank the universe now for the millions you've yet to see. Say a thank you before it arrives, and it must arrive. Affirm: I am grateful for all that is already mine by divine law. The law of divine timing and order: delay is not denial. There is perfect timing in all things. Trust the unfolding. While others panic, you remain poised. For you know that what's meant for you can never pass you by. Affirm: there are no missed opportunities in divine mind. My beloveds, these laws are not secrets. They are eternal truths written not only in sacred scripture but in the very cells of your being. 99% ignore them because they chase outer riches instead of cultivating inner wealth. But you now know. Honor the law and the law shall honor you. Speak it. Live it. Trust it. Prosper. Thank you. What you hold in mind, you hold in hand. Every condition you experience in the outer world is a mirror of your inner world. It is not circumstance that dictates reality, but consciousness. Your finances, relationships, opportunities, and environment are nothing more than the visible photographs developed from the invisible negatives you carry in mind. You may change your job, move cities, or even marry into money. But if your mental equivalent of lack and limitation remains intact, the same patterns will follow you like a shadow. The law of mental equivalence is divine in nature, precise in operation, and exact in results. It states that you can only receive what your inner world has prepared a space for. This law is not partial and it does not discriminate. Whether rich or poor, known or unknown, the law works the same. Your thoughts are seeds and your life is the garden. A man may say, I desire prosperity. But if in the depth of his subconscious he believes he is unworthy, shameful, or unlucky, then poverty will persist. The law does not respond to what we say we want. It responds to what we believe we are. The key then is not to labor to get prosperity, but to become prosperity in consciousness. Consider a radio receiver. It must be tuned to the right frequency in order to hear the station clearly. If you are tuned to the frequency of fear, scarcity, and survival, then you cannot receive the station of wealth, ease, and luxury. They are not on the same dial. You must rise to the frequency of what you desire, not wait for it to descend to where you are. Mental equivalents are the images, ideas, and beliefs we carry, often unconsciously, that match certain conditions in our life. If you hold a mental equivalent of a just enough, you will always find yourself with just enough. The bill will equal the income, the emergency will cancel the gain, and the relief will be momentary. The outer condition obeys the mold you carry within. To change the outer, you must first change the mold. Here's where most people go wrong. They attempt to fix lack by manipulating the external, asking for loans, chasing side jobs, controlling others, or even cutting back to the bone. But all of this is effort without spiritual substance. It's building on sand. The only permanent prosperity comes from enlarging the mental equivalent of abundance. How then do you create a new mental equivalent? First, by conscious imagination. Imagination is not idle fantasy, it is the creative faculty of the soul. When you consistently hold a mental picture of your desired good, faith, feeling, and expectancy, you carve new grooves in the subconscious mind. This, in time, becomes your new point of attraction. Imagine yourself with more than enough. Picture yourself writing the check with ease. Walk through your day as though supply is already flowing toward you, because in truth it already is. Second, by affirmation. Words impress the subconscious. Repetition of truth statements spoken aloud with belief uproots the old mental equivalents and plants new ones. Say daily, I have a divine and perfect idea of prosperity. My wealth now appears in perfect ways. Speak it before you see it, not to convince the universe, but to convince your own mind that a new standard has been set. Third, by emotional cleansing. Many carry a silent, often unconscious resentment toward the rich, the successful, or the privileged. They say they want wealth, but criticize it in others. The law cannot bring you what you internally oppose. To hate money is to reject your own good. You must clean your emotional temple. Forgive the past. Bless those who have what you desire. Celebrate abundance in all its forms. For what you bless, you draw nearer. Fourth, by mental vigilance. Guard your mind as you would a treasure. Cast down every thought of lack, fear, or desperation the moment it arises. Say aloud, that is not my thought. I think thoughts of wealth, success, and divine order. Do not let the weeds of doubt grow in your garden. They will strangle the seeds of truth. Fifth, by alignment with spirit. Real prosperity is not grasped. It is received. You do not force the law to work. You align with it, like a sail aligning with the wind. Spend time daily in quiet connection with the infinite. Enter the silence. Know that there is already a completed supply for every demand. Your work is not to make it happen, but to accept it mentally and spiritually. When you accept it within, the outer has no choice but to reflect it. The law of mental equivalence teaches us that poverty is not a punishment and wealth is not a reward. These are the fruits of consciousness, and consciousness can be changed. Your word is your wand. The universe does not hear your begging. It hears your declaration. Every word you speak has the power of creation behind it, for it is backed by the very breath of spirit. The spoken word is not casual, it is causal. It sets the mold, triggers divine law, and calls invisible substance into form. When you say, I never have enough, the law responds without judgment and reflects back a life of insufficiency. When you declare, everything I touch turns to gold, that too becomes your experience. The law of the spoken word is exact and impersonal, like gravity. It does not consider your emotions, your desperation, or your mood. It simply produces results according to the blueprint you give it, and your words are the blueprint. Many pray for prosperity with their mouths, yet curse their good 10 minutes later with the same tongue. They say, a God is my source, and in the same breath murmur, I don't know how I'll pay these bills. They declare all things work together for my good, then complain, nothing ever works out for me. This contradiction neutralizes their word, and the law is confused by their double-mindedness. The truth is, the word is law. Every syllable you speak is a seed. If you plant thorns, you cannot harvest figs. If you speak fear, you cannot live in freedom. Words must be chosen with care, not as empty affirmations, but as declarations of truth spoken with conviction, clarity, and power. See, the ancient scriptures declare, thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. This is not metaphor, it is mechanics. A decree spoken in faith, aligned with spiritual law, carries within it the force of manifestation. The word goes out and performs its assignment. Your tongue is the pen of a ready writer, and each sentence you speak is writing the script of your life. Are you writing a story of lack, delay, struggle, and despair? Or are you writing a story of ease, abundance, success, and divine timing? Let the words you speak align only with what you desire, never with what you fear. If there is not enough money in the bank, do not say, "I am broke." Say instead, "Divine supply is working now to meet every need. Unexpected income flows to me freely and easily." If the job has not yet appeared, do not say, "No one is hiring." Say, "The perfect position now appears by divine right in perfect timing." It is not about denying reality. It is about shaping reality. The spoken word is not a lie. It is a claim. It is not a hope. It is a command. It does not describe the world. It prescribes the world. When you speak prosperity, you are not reporting what is, you are declaring what must be. You must also watch the tone and emotion behind your words. Speaking affirmations with resentment, sarcasm, or disbelief will not bear fruit. The subconscious only responds to feeling. When your word is backed by conviction, it takes root. Speak prosperity as if you already live in it. Speak abundance as if it were the most natural condition in the world, because it is. Some will say, "I tried speaking affirmations and nothing happened." But the law does not work on trying. It works on knowing. The spoken word must be more than a recital. It must become a vibration. Repetition helps, but belief seals it. Every day, you must speak your world into being. Wake up and say, "Today is a day of divine increase. Money comes to me in expected and unexpected ways. I am surrounded by substance. I am a magnet for miracles." Say it aloud. Whisper it if you must, but never let a day go by where your word is left inactive. If you are not speaking abundance, you are likely speaking against it. And the law will obey either command. Guard your mouth, for your tongue carries the fire of creation. Words spoken in idle jest. "I always lose money." My luck is terrible. A "nothing ever goes my way" may seem harmless, but the law does not distinguish between jokes and decrees. It acts on the vibration, not the intent. Bless your money when you receive it, no matter how small. Give attention. There are countless ways to participate in circulation. This law applies not just to money, but to all things: time, energy, affection, praise, talents, and ideas. If you want more love, give more love. Give more love. If you want recognition, acknowledge others. If you want to grow, help someone else grow. Whatever you feel is missing, give it away, and it will come back multiplied. The law of circulation is one of the highest expressions of spiritual trust. It says, "There is always more. As I give, I receive. As I bless, I am blessed." When you understand this, you no longer fear lack. You become a steward of divine flow. You do not need to chase abundance. You become its vessel. A faith and fear cannot occupy the same space. Faith is the oil that keeps the machinery of prosperity running smoothly. It is the unseen substance that bridges the visible gap between lack and abundance, between prayer and manifestation. Faith is more than belief. It is spiritual knowing. It is the assurance that what you desire already exists in the invisible and is on its way into the visible, regardless of appearances, delays, or doubts. Where faith is present, fear dissolves. Where fear rules, faith is inactive. The two cannot coexist. Just as darkness disappears in the presence of light, fear vanishes when faith is fully engaged. Every spiritual master, every law of manifestation, every timeless teaching agrees on this. You must choose one master. Fear is the great disqualifier. It arrests circulation, chokes creativity, and delays the arrival of good. Faith, on the other hand, activates the law, magnetizes solutions, and opens the way. You do not have to feel brave to walk in faith. Faith is not a feeling. It is a decision to trust divine intelligence over visible facts. You may be surrounded by unpaid bills, but faith says, "All my needs are met now according to divine law." You may be unemployed, but faith declares, "My perfect work is already prepared for me, and I am guided to it now." You may feel unqualified, unseen, or too late, but faith replies, "I am backed by infinite power, and nothing can stop what is mine by divine right." Most people believe in fear more than they believe in God. They recite affirmations in the morning and replay worst-case scenarios all afternoon. They pray for increase but expect loss. They ask for healing while anticipating pain. This mental split cancels the very good they seek. Faith must be sustained, not flickered in and out like a candle in the wind. The law responds to certainty, not confusion. The law of faith over fear requires you to hold your vision before the facts agree. It asks you to walk in the assumption of the answered prayer. It trains you to speak only of the good, even when you don't yet see it. This is not delusion, it is divine alignment. The world calls it unrealistic. Spirit calls it creative power. The moment you make a bold declaration, I am prosperous, money flows to me. This situation is resolved in divine order. Fear will rise up. It will whisper of past failures. It will point to your current bank account. It will parade statistics and echo the voices of others who gave up. But fear is a phantom, a shadow with no substance unless you feed it with your attention. Every fear is rooted in the illusion of separation, the false belief that you are alone, unsupported, or disconnected from Source. When you remember that you are one with the infinite, fear loses its grip. You are not drawing from your own limited power. You are backed by a universal law that never fails. Faith is the knowing that God is your supply, that divine timing is never off, and that every delay conceals a greater orchestration. You grow faith by exercising it. Just as muscles strengthen through use, your faith expands through practice. Start small. Speak abundance over your coffee money. Thank God for supply before the paycheck arrives. Bless your day before you check your email. Watch how these tiny threads of trust begin to weave a new fabric in your life. Faith is also built through the word. Declare it, and your inner atmosphere begins to change. Say aloud, a fear has no power over me. I walk in divine confidence. Everything is working for my highest good. Repeat it until the vibration of truth overshadows the false evidence of fear. When fear shows up, and it will, do not panic. Do not deny it, but do not feed it. Observe it, name it, and release it. Replace it immediately with a higher truth. If fear says, you'll lose everything, reply, a divine substance is my unfailing supply. If fear says, or not enough, answer, I am one with the infinite and all things are possible. Fear demands logic. Faith requires trust. Fear says how, faith says it is already done. Fear looks for proof. Faith is the proof. And when you walk by faith, the invisible becomes visible, the impossible becomes natural, and the law responds with precision. What is mine by divine right is now on its way to me. There is no confusion in the divine mind. All that is meant for you moves toward you by perfect spiritual law through channels of harmony, ease, and right timing. The law of divine right action is the principle that you do not need to strive, struggle, or force your way into prosperity. Your role is not to chase the good, but to align with it, trust its unfolding, and walk in faith until it appears. In the world system, action often comes from fear. Fear of lack, fear of being behind, fear of missing out. People scramble, overwork, manipulate, and push themselves into exhaustion trying to make things happen. But when you live under divine law, your action becomes purposeful, guided, and peaceful. You are led, not driven. You move by inspiration, not by anxiety. Divine right action is never rushed. It is never desperate. It does not compete. It does not fight for position or force open doors that are not yet ready. It is deeply intuitive. When you are spiritually aligned, you will know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, and your efforts will prosper because they are supported by higher intelligence. Too often, people mistake busyness for productivity. They fill their calendars, chase every opportunity, and panic when things slow down. Yet in spiritual truth, stillness is a kind of action. Waiting in faith is a kind of action. Listening to inner guidance before leaping into motion is an essential part of divine success. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will not come by effort, but by obedience to a single intuitive nudge. There may be seasons when action is required, yes, but that action should flow from a place of spiritual assurance, not from fear of being left behind. When you know that what is yours cannot be taken, you no longer need to hustle, beg, or perform. You take action as a servant of divine wisdom, not as a prisoner of worldly anxiety. This law also means that you are always in the right place at the right time when you trust divine order. There is no mistrain in spirit. If one door closes, another is already opening. If an opportunity passes you by, it was not yours. If something is delayed, it is being perfected. You must learn to say, this or something better now manifests for me under grace. Divine right action often leads you by peace. It will not always make logical sense, but it will feel aligned. A phone call you feel nudged to make, decision you suddenly feel at ease about, a creative idea that will not let go of you. These are signals. The universe speaks through subtle impressions. The more you trust and follow them, the more doors begin to open effortlessly. It is also important to release the need to control others. When you try to force people, circumstances, or outcomes into place, you are acting out of fear, not faith. Divine right action means all parties are guided harmoniously. You do not need to manipulate or convince anyone. What is yours will be drawn to you, and those meant to support your good will be drawn into alignment by the same law. Powerful affirmation to align with this law is, Infinite Spirit, reveal to me the next step. I do not force, I allow. I am in divine right action now. Say this and then wait. Listen, watch for signs. Take the step that feels guided. Trust the pauses as much as the movement. Divine right action also means that you act with integrity. You do not need to deceive, cheat, or cut corners to prosper. When you follow the laws of truth, your success is lasting, peaceful, and filled with blessings. The world may offer shortcuts, but spirit offers substance. Prosperity built on deception eventually collapses. Prosperity built on divine alignment becomes a foundation for generations.